Dr. Perryman, thanks so much for visiting with us today. Now, just days after Hurricane Harvey hit, you projected, the cost to the coastline and to the state of Texas, and it knocks your socks off, those numbers. Have those changed any?
Well, they've changed a little bit. Obviously, we get more information all the time, and and there's a lot we won't have for a long time. For example, we don't know if the environmental effects are going to be something minor that goes away soon, or something that will affect people's health and lives for 20 or 30 years. We don't have a way to know that yet. So there's a lot. You always learn more. We're still learning about Katrina and the effects that Katrina has all these years later. But we have some pretty good numbers now, at least in terms of the property damage and that sort of thing, and they really haven't changed much.
Yes. What effect is this going to have on everybody in Texas, though, that this costs these huge numbers?
Well, we've estimated that the effect on Texas gross product will be a net loss overall, after all said and done, of about $114 billion. That's roughly 7% of 1 year's economy here, and about 2 years worth of growth. But it's not all happening in 1 year. In fact, what you'll see is some very odd things. Lately, we've seen a lot of industries, like the building construction materials industry, all of a sudden doing very well. Next year, we'll probably see a lot of construction money coming in. At the same time, you see the losses, the business interruptions, the various things, the absenteeism from work being up, some of the health issues causing losses in output. So there's any number of things out there, and as I say, will continue over the years, and it'll be very irregular. And a lot of the timing will depend on when the federal government puts in money, when and if the state puts in money, how much they put in, and issues as simple as, will the workforce be available to rebuild all the places that need to be rebuilt.
Now let's talk a little bit more about construction. It boggles the mind when we saw just how vast this 1,000-year flood in the Houston area was, how many people were affected, and how slow it is even now getting folks' homes back in order.
Right.
But it takes people to build these homes, or rebuild them.
Yeah, it really does, and it's a controversial issue, but it's much more math than politics. I promise you right now, if you look at it, that's a huge area. It's 30% of the Texas economy. It's 30% of the Texas population. It's a very large area. And on any given day in the Houston area, there are 100,000 undocumented construction workers working in the Gulf Coast region. With this storm, of course, people go where the work is. There would normally be maybe 150, 175,000. We do not have another source of construction labor. So if there's extreme enforcement, like has been threatened, or that sort of thing, people tend to go underground and not be available. That happened to the shrimping industry this year and caused some real hardships for Texas. So whatever your politics and beliefs are about immigration, this is a workforce that literally its availability will determine by years how quickly the Gulf Coast area is able to rebuild from this.
This Harvey thing was a pretty big hit.
It was a very big hit. Fortunately, it hit a growing area, and an area that's fundamental industries like the petroleum sector, healthcare, the ports are still with us, and nothing fundamentally changed. So it will rebuild, it will come back, it will look a lot like it did before. It won't be the same thing as like a Katrina or a Sandy, where you hit an economically declining area. We were fortunate to hit a high growth area, and we can come back from it. But yes, it's a huge hit, and the human loss and the human suffering is almost incalculable. And that, of course, that's where our hearts need to be at this point in time.
Sure. And you can learn more from the Perryman Group. Just go on their site. It's perrymangroup.com.